Hi everyone, my name is Lisa Leclerc. I'm a project agent with Leading Lenders team, and I'm proud to welcome you to our very first of a series of panel discussions. You may know that women entrepreneurs face different barriers when pursuing business financing. Today, we bring together lenders and women entrepreneurs to crack open the conversation on financial literacy. The panelists will discuss the importance of financial literacy in the business loan application process, how networking, mentoring, and education are important in relations to financial literacy, to end with some tips for lenders to help remove financial literacy barriers for women entrepreneurs. Leading Lenders is delivered by Restigouche Community Business Development Corporation, in other words, Restigouche CBDC, and is developed through the project funding provided by Financial Government's Women Entrepreneurship Strategy under the WES Ecosystem Fund and is administered by the Atlantic Canada Opportunity Agency, ACOA. Before we begin the panel discussion, we would like to acknowledge that members of Leading Lenders team all live, work, and play on the traditional unceded territories of the Mi'kmaq First Nation of Gaspégoagui, located in the Peace of Friendship Treaty region of what is now known as Northern New Brunswick and Eastern Quebec. It is now time to crack open the conversation and begin this panel discussion. Let's meet and welcome our panelists.
My name is Anne-Guimond Nadeau. I'm the Associate Vice President for Commercial Banking with the National Bank for Southeastern New Brunswick and Prince Edward Island.
Hello, my name is Tricia Chio. I'm a Senior Account Manager and Advocate for Women Entrepreneurs at the BDC. BDC is the only bank dedicated exclusively to entrepreneurs. We provide financing and advisory support to help businesses optimize their growth at all stages of a business cycle.
My name is Melanie Roop, and I'm the Senior Director of Loans and Advisory Services with WeBC, formerly Women's Enterprise Zambia. WeBC is a not-for-profit initiated by the federal government in 1995, really to support the needs of women entrepreneurs and their unique growth needs. We are also a member of the WEOC, which is the Women's Enterprise Organization of Canada. That's an umbrella organization supporting women entrepreneurs across Canada.
Good afternoon. My name is Tanya Prisk, and I'm the Executive Director of the Center for Women in Business, located on the campus of Mount St. Vincent University in Halifax, Nova Scotia. Our vision is to see women-owned businesses have equal participation in the entrepreneurial ecosystem. We work with women along the full continuum of entrepreneurship, from startup to succession, and in all sectors, from professional services to manufacturing. As we enter our 30th year of operation, we will continue to play an important role in the future of women's entrepreneurship in this region. And being part of an educational institution, we instill the value that management skills training brings to the growth of businesses. We design and deliver programs specifically for women-owned companies.
My name is Victoria Labiloa. I'm a Mi'kmaq entrepreneur from Listigouche, Quebec. I'm the president of Wejibek Excavation and Wejusik Construction. What we do is bring the talented Mi'kmaq labor force to natural resource projects across our traditional territory.
Thank you for those great introductions, everybody. We're now ready for our first question. So, financial literacy is an important skill for entrepreneurs. What role does financial literacy play when it comes to the application process for a business loan? How about we start with Melanie?
Sure, I'd love to jump in with just a couple, if we look at some data points to help pinpoint the problem. In November of 2020, WeBC did a survey of over 400 women business owners in BC, and over 60% of the respondents said that they find the process of applying for funding to be somewhat or very difficult. And we also know that women business owners receive less than 20% of traditional bank loans. To me, those numbers are astounding, and we know that women find it difficult to apply for funding. The reason is that they don't understand, they don't have that financial literacy. So things like reading financial statements, preparing cash flow, understanding your credit score, I could go on and on the list, but it's understanding those things. I'm sure that they'll come up with the other panelists as well. Women need to understand that, and then they'll be able to get past the barrier of feeling comfortable applying for funding.
I think financial literacy is critical in launching a business and the lending process. And I have to say at the outset that I teach financial literacy. It's one of my passion projects. I've been doing this for a number of years in the community. But if we look at women entrepreneurs, I think having financial literacy or financial skills around personal finance prior to approaching a lender for business financing is important. So having your personal finances in order, but also what we see is a lack of understanding around how credit works. The importance of understanding interest rates and amortization. It was mentioned by a previous speaker about putting cash flows together in those projections and what that means. So financial literacy is the foundational piece that we need, and we need to promote it more.
As a lender, financial literacy is important. And I agree, because it equips us with the knowledge and the skills that we need to manage our money effectively. And really, without it, financial decisions, can't be made with success. So, as a lender, it's a key piece that we evaluate when we're looking at any project, whether it be from a woman or a man entrepreneur. And I agree with what you're saying, and I honestly think that women are somewhat disadvantaged because they don't have, many role models. They often come with a background where, they haven't had the benefit of having a strong network. They haven't had other women to look to support them. But I do feel like we're seeing progress in that area today. If I look back in the past, I see more successful women in roles today that weren't there even 10 years ago. So I feel like we're on the right path, but there's a lot to be done to help support women entrepreneurs today.
Yeah.
And if I may pop in here, at the center, we know that skills and the toolkit is most essential for women. So everything that we develop and deliver, we intertwine financial literacy into. So from that blueprint for success, that starting a business plan, understanding how every part of your operation falls into that financial plan and projections. And not only in the startup, it's what entrepreneurs need through every stage of their business. So if they're growing rapidly, how do they obtain capital? How do they make sure that their business is fiscally responsible? And really understanding, what's driving their profits or what's driving, their deficits, but understanding the products and services that are really driving their business. And we really, I can't say enough that when I talk to women, that's one of the major things. I often hear, I need marketing help, I need sales help, I need, it really comes back to financial literacy and understanding what's happening in your business.
Yeah.
And I would agree with all of our panelists here is that, through these studies, we know that the women entrepreneur tend to be more soft-spoken. They're less boastful about their achievements, and they're very conservative in the approach that they're looking at. So their requests coming in, they're always going to be tend to ask for smaller loan size, but that doesn't mean that their business doesn't have the strong abilities to succeed. So it's really important for the lender to help them and delve in and understand their overall growth plan. Have they captured all of the potential cash flow requirements for the growth project? Do they have the right amount of support versus letting them just piecemeal it as they go, because they really only think that they need that small step where they've missed out on other things that are crucial to that whole plan. And back to what the ladies were saying, knowledge is power. So if we can help to provide them with access and knowledge of all the different ways to capital and the benefits and how to utilize them and at what point to utilize them, that would help them to really take that business further, right? Often we see entrepreneurs utilizing their line of credit because they have it on the standby and they use it to go buy equipment and invest into technology. And then when they actually, and they do all of that, it's because they want to grow. And then they forgot to calculate that. Well, actually, you need working capital to grow, and that was what the line of credit's for. And so instead, they really should be looking for term loans with that matches those useful life. And we see that over and over again. It's not just women entrepreneurs; it's all entrepreneurs, right? BDC does have a free ebook that actually is to help an entrepreneur get ready before they approach a bank for lending. And that can just be found on our website on how to get a business loan.
Sorry, if I can jump in just to add to your point of women using their credit cards, which in an even higher interest rate, and then they're unable to get a loan because their credit score may be negatively impacted with high credit card utilization.
Exactly.
Yeah, and I think it's really important for them to understand the types of financing, like you said, using that line of credit for their working capital. Women are so, I guess, adverse to incurring debt. It's really helping them understand that by doing so, or if you don't do so, you can't grow your company. So giving them the confidence and the tools that they need and being able to present themselves to a lending institution to really be able to speak positively about their business moving forward and how the loan will impact that growth.
This is very interesting and a really good lead into our second question. Research has shown that women tend to have a lower financial literacy level compared to men. What can be done to help increase women's financial literacy level? Is there anyone who would like to go first?
If I may jump in, we're just in the middle of a training survey and looking at a variety of skills that women need. And one of the things that has really popped out in the well, we have about 57 respondents. We've just gone out with it. But really, I think as Melanie referred to, it was really that preparation and analyzing financial statements, tax preparation, really understanding startup projections and cash flow. So being able to provide that education to women, I think is really what we are focused on as an organization, is to be able to help them. And by diving into this, we really need them to understand the credit, debit, and loans are effective tools for growth.
Yeah, I jump in and echo on the training and advisory support and making it accessible and high quality. So the kind of programs that you're doing, Tanya, and others across the country is invaluable. If you're not strong, it frustrates me that even our girls in school are told that girls are not good at math. I think that's just a horrible narrative for girls to grow up with, because it makes it so difficult when you come to financial literacy. But the key message is that financial literacy can be learned. It's a skill that can be learned through the programs and through the training, like the programs that Victoria is doing as well. And getting a good accountant on board and a bookkeeper on board, they can educate you and help you through the process of setting up proper books and creating those cash flow projections. I'd also like to add in a point on mentorship. Both one-on-one mentorship and peer mentoring groups are invaluable to help women get the individual mentoring that they need, but also peer mentoring where they can be in a group with other entrepreneurs at a similar stage and perhaps level of frustration around their financial literacy level.
And another very important aspect of all of this is partnership, right? So BDC partners with many organizations across Canada that support the women entrepreneurs. And oftentimes we're collaborating on financing requests with these partners and or introducing them to the network of partners that can support them in other areas of growth. So such as export needs, there's programs for that, or leveraging a supplier diversity program so that they can gain access to new markets. So all of these will help them to know all of their options as they continue to build all of these other fundamentals that we've talked about here. And again, we have on our website resources that range from ebooks to e-learning, financial calculator, articles. And it's not just about financial literacy. It's also a lot of knowledge on other aspects of the business operation that they're going to need to think about and be aware of. So there's lots of information out there. And sometimes what I find really helpful is when we actually help them to pinpoint where they should go, right? Not just give them a generic website and say good luck, because there's so much information, but saying, based on our conversation today, this is some things that you want to look into first, and just really guide them right to that.
I'd like to maybe add to Melanie's point as well. We know from research that women's networks are less extensive and less diverse generally than men's. Then they often lack access to mentors, like we just mentioned. Their networks are generally consist of their families, and friends, and they don't usually know other women entrepreneurs. So, that speaks a lot. Or other women entrepreneurs that are in the same industry that they're in. So it limits their network, I think, considerably when we compare them to men entrepreneurs. And I think even as lenders, we can play a role in helping them expand their network. And I think that will help with financial literacy as well. So when we can help celebrate other women, other successful women, and help highlight women who have, like I said, who have achieved a certain level of success, and help connect women to each other so that they can help each other. I think we should encourage that. I think today we see a lot of women who are in important roles, even if they're not entrepreneurs. They hold important positions in other companies, and we can celebrate that as well. And so it's important to help make those connections. And I too think it's important that we work with schools in order to help, deliver really literacy courses at an early age, where it's mostly delivered now at in the family, and that's fine, but really I think we can do so much more at an early age.
I think the conversation's been leaning more towards the demand side of this lending equation. So we've been talking about what's lacking on the part of women who may want to seek business financing. We've talked about the deficiencies around networks, around role models, around mentoring. I think we have to look at the other side of the equation as well, the supply side, and looking at lenders and what is the framework they're operating within? What are the societal issues that have created this problem in the first place? What are the inherent biases? I don't think men are generally inherently better at math or financial literacy than women. It's a learned skill. What are the systemic biases that exist within lending institutions that may be impacting women? So it's both sides of this equation that need examination and that need our help.
I love that perspective, Victoria. It's really important.
Yeah. And I think, Victoria, you'll find that more and more lenders are women today, and that'll change the landscape as well.
Okay, that's great. And this brings us to our last question. One of the main objectives of leading lenders is to help raise lenders' awareness on barriers that women entrepreneurs may face when pursuing business financing. What is the number one tip you would suggest to a lender that could remove financial literacy as a barrier? We'll start with Victoria for this one.
Thank you. And echoing my sentiments from my previous comment about looking at the lender side, I think being able to listen to the client, but also having that self-awareness of what inherent or preconceived notions you might be bringing to the conversation when meeting with women clients. I think that would be my main tip. In other words, check yourself at the door.
And I'll speak to exactly what Victoria was saying. So that was a great lead into our third question here, and also circles back to what Melanie said early in this discussion, is to, the lender should really challenge themselves to look beyond their standard assessment process that they have always been so used to, right? We talked about the women entrepreneur tending to leverage personal resources before they apply for a business loan. So again, that leads to higher credit utilization. Their credit score may be lower, their net worth may be lower because they've used up all of their savings towards the business before they decided to go and apply for a business loan. So it's, again, reiterating how important it is that, as soon as you're made aware that this woman entrepreneur is going to start this journey, or is looking to take the business up to the next journey, is to advise them on the various ways to access capital, right? And if for whatever the reasons you've kind of really went beyond and looked at it from all angles and it just isn't the right time to do this deal, then make sure that you're being very frank and open in that discussion, and help them to understand what it is that you are looking for, and help them to build a roadmap so that they can work towards that goal of achieving these milestones, and then celebrate with them. Because then after 6 months, 8 months, great, you've done what you said you're set out to do. We're ready now. You're meeting those criteria. Let's go. And if they are coachable, BDC Advisory is there to help, because not financing is always the immediate solution, right? Getting them to overcome a challenge and seize an opportunity working with a coach is invaluable, and it's relevant at all stages of a business cycle.
I was just going to say that I think we can bear in mind that really success can be defined in many ways, really, and it can be different, even to a woman entrepreneur. So, I mean, we really need to keep in mind what does success mean to the woman entrepreneur that we're talking to at that moment, and look at what their goals are, and just keep that in mind when we're evaluating a project. It may be different from what we think success represents, right? So again, it's about keeping an open mind and not having those biases when we're looking at a project.
Yeah, and I guess I would add that, this conversation isn't really over until those gender barriers and to financial literacy and capital for women are met. And recently we supported, as a community partner, Dr. Ellen Farrell, who has created Investor Ready program for women to practice their pitch, mostly for female founders, female tech founders. But we're very, to change the narrative, because we know through research is that female tech founders are asked different questions by VCs than their male counterparts. And so how do they change that narrative and move it to the actual question at hand or the point that they want to get across? So really focusing in on that conversation. And we're really excited about this project. We've tested it with our Grow Now program, but it's the application it will have for all women when they are going for financing that we're really excited about.
My number one tip for lenders would be to explore how they can change their lending policies to better recognize the growth pathways of women and redefine risk. As a former banker, I know that the lending policies, we've been working here with a local credit union, and they have made adjustments to their lending policies, because in the first iteration, they had a lot of women applying for their loan program, but weren't able to approve any of the loans. And they went back and reviewed their lending policies and made some changes. And then were able to significantly increase the number of loans that were approved for women entrepreneurs. And some key things that are needed are broadening the eligibility criteria and redefining risk. WeBC is a development lender. That means that we do a lot of loans for businesses in the startup phase, and we have a repayment rate of over 96%. Women want to pay back their loans. If their business fails, they work with us. Women are not a significant risk because they're committed to their business and they're committed to their commitments like loans. So women want smaller amounts of funding and they want it more frequently. And when women have access to the early stages of funding in their business, they're more likely to get funding for the growth stages. And so for us, it's a huge goal to get women financing in the early stages of business so that they get comfortable borrowing and they are not a higher risk. We have such a high repayment rate. We're happy to do those loans, but it's in the beginning, working with them, as others have said, are they ready for this financing, or are there some things that they need to do before they take on the financing? That's not a decline. That's a no, not now. Let's work together. Let's give you the support that you need so that you can then be ready to take on financing and be set up for success. And then if you run into trouble, come and talk to us and we'll work with you and let's see what your business can support in terms of payment. And then when things can get better in your business, then you can make up those payments. And absolutely, when we work together with women as their silent partner, we like to say the repayment rate is remarkable. And it is giving women the access to capital that they really need to help them grow and scale businesses.
I agree, Melanie, that advice and support, especially the support in managing the debt, is so important. And at the center, we recognize that through our business advisories as well. And I think, financial institutions, they're open to that as well. It's just that women sometimes just don't have the confidence to talk to their lenders in that way. So it's really being able to encourage them to open those conversations.
Yeah, the wraparound support is so valuable, and we partner with lenders because they'll provide the financing, but then those women still need additional support. So they need the business advisory support, they may need mentoring programs, they may need training programs. Those are all things that we provide, that if you get a loan, you can get the support not necessarily from the lender because it can be time consuming, but those lenders are making referrals to organizations like ours and like yours, Tanya, because we can provide that wraparound support and really help those women get the support that they need. And I want to say that across Canada, there are organizations supporting women entrepreneurs in every single province. You can look at WEOC, the Women Enterprise Organizations of Canada, for an organization in your province that can support you. And so many women business owners still don't know that there is this support available, and it's largely funded. So they're not having to pay high fees, and it can really help them navigate to where the service providers are.
As we wrap up this event, we would like to thank the panelists and everyone who took the time to watch this conversation about financial literacy. We look forward to our next discussion from this series. We would like to remind everyone that Leading Lenders provides a free online toolkit, a blog, and other dynamic content for employees and leading institutions who are supporting women entrepreneurs towards success. If you wish to learn more on financial literacy, we invite you to visit our website and check out our tool number 7. We also invite you to sign up for our free email newsletter and follow us on social media. You can check us out on Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook, and on Instagram. Thanks again for watching. Have a wonderful day, and I hope you join us for our next panel discussion.